You remember when, like a long time ago, when Brian Callahan was head coach of the Titans?
Last year.
And that's that. A few games into the
wrap.
season, another awful performance by Tennessee. I know they're listening to us in the zone and on the zone in Nashville right now. Your guy gone. 419.
Your guy gone.
419.
Callie's my guy.
In his
there you go.
in almost 2 seasons. Well, I mean, what have we, like the season and change? Yeah, season and change. Not even a season and a half, but he's out, and the Tennessee Titans are looking elsewhere. And it felt like this was a foregone conclusion. There was front office changes. The guy who hired him is no longer there, and so now, young quarterback, got to start with a new coach on a bad roster and a bad team, and it feels like this was set in motion in the offseason, and here we are 6 weeks in.
I really don't get it. I don't get why organizations make change for change's sake, because that's how we got here. They fired Mike Vrabel because why? Because it was time? How does that firing look now? Like, what exactly was the big fracture that occurred with Mike Vrabel? Because they felt like they hit their ceiling? I mean, some of that had to do with the quarterback and the quarterback position while he was there. He was beloved. He was consistent. And yes, there'll be some down years, but injury play a factor. You know, the quarterback position in general, I don't know that they ever really figured that out. But you let Mike Vrabel go, he moves on, and he's now atop of the AFC East with the New England Patriots. It's like I go back and I just look at that decision, and this isn't like an indictment on Brian Callahan. It's more of just he was set up for an impossible situation as a head coach, knowing that it was a rebuild. I mean, I'm not sure what anyone within the ownership of the Titans expected. You're going to have to give this next head coach 4 years. It might sound ridiculously long, and people might, criticize me for saying that. I would say 4 to 5 years to get the roster right, the salary cap, everything else that goes along with it, and get this thing competitive around them. I mean, just look within the division. Like, you just drafted Cam Ward. If he is the future at the quarterback spot, comparatively speaking to the other teams, Trevor Lawrence, who looks like it's going to work under Liam Cohen right now, the way they're playing with Jacksonville. CJ Stroud, obviously, broke in the league, was phenomenal as a rookie. And I still think he's one of the better quarterbacks in the AFC. Daniel Jones has resurrected his career in Indy. And he's not old. He's surely not young. But it looks like that's going to work for a while. Everyone else around you has kind of figured that out. So if Cam Ward is your guy, it's going to take a while to build the offensive line, that the staff, put him in the right system. And he's going to have to go through some growing pains too. So this thing is going to take time. And they didn't even give Brian Callahan 2 years. And as you noted, Jonas, like, they move on from Rand Carthon. And then you're sitting there with a new general manager as a head coach. Everything is being evaluated. Everything's on the plate, on the table. So, this to me was a disaster to begin with. After year one, seeing what you had on that roster, moving on from a general manager and saying, all right, let's kind of start this over again. Like, they should have never moved on from Mike Vrabel in the first place. But I will ask this. Post-game this past week, Brian Callahan did make some comments, basically kind of talking about how, like, Cam Ward needs to play better too. And look, there's instances of brilliance where you see why they drafted him number 1 overall, the playmaking ability. And there's going to be some rookie mistakes, but there's also some times where you're like, yeah, those were some of the plays at Miami where you go, like, you gotta get rid of that. You got to get out of that out of your system. And I'm sure Brian Callahan's saying the same thing or thinking the same thing. And he kind of alluded to it a little bit. I don't know if you guys saw that, but I wonder how much of it is the front office making the draft pick and into the first season with Cam Ward, basically the coach saying like, hey, this guy's got to do X, Y, and Z better. It's not us. It's kind of him and what we're asking him to do. Did you guys see any portion of that playing a role?
I think that he, the writing was on the wall. I think he understood where he was at with the organization, and I think that he sensed that this was coming. And I don't want to say that he didn't care. I just think he said, you know what, F it. Like, I'm going to be critical. If I've got to call this guy out, I've got to call him out, because he was getting close to the breaking point to where if you heard him after games previously in the year, not to say the media was egging him on, but they were asking him, like, you were talking about, the effort and this and that for the team, and the team was going to be this, and they were going to show us this, and he had to stop himself because he's like, I don't want to say something I'm going to regret. Like, it felt like he was at his breaking point. And I wonder if he just said after the game, like, listen, man, like, it's on him too. Like, I can't just. And ultimately they said, well, that's a wrap. Six games in, and now they're looking in another direction.
There has been poor play by Cam Ward. I mean, there has been. And there are things that he could have done better and could do better. And there are things that you look at, like even like the ball he just dropped just came out of his hand, like nothing happened, just the ball just flopped out of there. Listen, there are going to be growing pains, and I don't believe personnel-wise this is a team that is ready to take a next step. And so I don't know. I like things went downhill with Vrabel after that draft, right? Like his last draft, they drafted somebody. I don't recall it all the way, but they drafted somebody in Vrabel, and I think they got rid of
A.J. Brown.
And then they got rid of A.J. Brown.
Got to forget his name, out of Arkansas, I think it was.
And Vrabel was like, F off. Like I kind of felt like that was the energy that was coming off of what took place in that moment. It's like you guys are not putting Braves in a position to win. And maybe it kind of maybe became a mutual breakup of sorts. Like, you guys don't want to win. I want to win. So whatever's going to happen is going to happen. But where this Tennessee Titans team is now, it totally, and obviously where Mike Vrabel is currently with how he's doing as a head coach, it does lend to the conversation that Tennessee doesn't know what the hell they're doing. Who's ever making the decisions, whoever is leveraging what they're leveraging, they don't know what they're doing. And I think it's damning if we're even at the point of right now where we have to say if, as it applies to Cam Ward, if he's your guy moving forward, if he's the man for this team, if he's the franchise quarterback, that's crazy. He's a rookie. So we're having that conversation now, and you spent a number 1 overall draft pick on bringing the kid there. That's crazy.